This is John Codler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, I'm going to get to unbox the all-new Hurom H80 ST. Yes, this is a brand new juicer by Hurom, released 2026. This is their latest pure press technology. That means this machine has a juicing screen, but it is upgraded over all the other hopper style juicing screen juicers out there because it has a lot of new features I'm glad to show you guys in just a few minutes. The next thing I want to remind you guys is that there are still influencers, unfortunately, out there on YouTube and other social media platforms promoting juicers that were released in 2021. Ask your favorite influencer, when was the juicer released that you are promoting or pushing, right? And it is quite sad to me that people are still promoting old machines. So think about it. If there's an influencer promoting the iPhone 13 as the latest iPhone or technology, because it was released in 2021, they'd be the laughing stock. But in juicers, clearly, unfortunately, it happens a lot. And there has been a lot of advances with juicing technology, especially with this latest machine put out by Hurom that makes some of the major brand juicers that are sold by other companies out there when they're made in South Korea. That being said, Hurom has 50 years of engineering experience. They were credited to have the first vertical juicer on the market over 20 years ago now, and they are also credited in my book, although other influencers may say something else, to having the first hopper-based juicer, a bit that actually didn't really work too well. But they've got all the kinks worked out now and even improved the hopper design. So let's go ahead and unbox this Hurom H80 ST and show you guys more about it and what makes it truly unique, different, and the next generation of hopper style juicers. So the first thing I'm going to say is that Hurom is moving more towards eco-friendly packaging. This is FSC cardboard and is printed with natural inks, basically just in black only, no colors, so you can use this for sheet mulching or composting in your garden. And let's go ahead and start unpulling some of the things out of this box. So as you guys can see, you get a whole litany of literature, including the warranty, which includes a 15-year warranty on the Hurom H80 ST. Think about it, if you guys buy the Hurom H80 ST right now in 2026, you are guaranteed to be juicing until 2040. Does that totally blow your mind? That is the confidence that Hurom has. They've been making juicers in South Korea probably longer than any other company out there, right? They have 50 years of engineering experience and making appliances in South Korea. And then you get a lot of little different booklets, including the raw core juice recipe booklet that shows you guys different recipes you can make, as well as techniques to use and nutrition in the juices. You get an instruction manual that is written in many different languages. You also get the most important part, the quick start guide. If you're like me and don't like reading instructions, then minimally read the quick start guide to get you started on all the basics you need to know to use your Hurom H80 ST successfully. All right. Next up, we got a litany of accessories. So you have a separate IEC power cord, so this means you can move your juicer easily. I like that a lot. You also have a cleaning brush. You will need to scrub the screen when you're done juicing. You have a 2-in-1 pusher, so not only is this used for pushing, but it also now has a convenient measuring cup in there, up to 5 ounces if you want to like measure things as you put it in the machine. That being said, I pretty much don't use pushers with hopper juicers. For the most part, they are just not needed because modern hopper juicers are pretty efficient. Hurom also upgraded their collection cups. It now goes up to 1,250 milliliters, so this is larger than their previous ones that only went up to around 1,000 milliliters. And of course, they also have an expanded pulp collection container to collect more pulp at once without it overflowing. And also these have the easy grab handles, and of course the one with the juice, you can easily pour out. All right, next up, out of the H80 box, you get a total of 3 different juicing screens or processing screens. Installed inside the machine is the fine whole screen used for juicing vegetables. You then get an included sorbet maker to make frozen fruit sorbet. Some companies will charge you $60 extra or more even to get this attachment to do that function in your juicer. Hurom is including it with their flagship model. And also you get a coarse screen. So this coarse screen basically puts more pulp in your juice. This is especially important in my opinion when you are juicing fruits to get all that fiber goodness in your fruit juices, or if you want to just get more fiber in your diet, you could use this with vegetables as well. As you guys know, most Americans unfortunately are fiber deficient because most Americans eat processed food that the fiber is removed from, right? And even when you juice, even if you don't use this screen when you juice carrots, you're going to keep the Decibel fiber. Decibel fiber dissolves in the water, and in carrots anyways, it's about 50% of the fiber is Decibel, 50% is insoluble. So this screen allows you to keep more of the insoluble fiber in the juice when you make it. Next up, we have the main juicing parts coming out, the hopper, which we will go over in 1 second. And then finally, we have the main juicing body right here. Nice heavy duty 200-watt motor. 30-minute recommended runtime, although I have used many Hurom made juicers in the past for, a lot longer. Usually when I get out my Hurom juicer, I use it in excess of 1 hour easily to make a lot of juice that I prepare in bulk and then vacuum seal. So this is everything you guys get with the Hurom H80 as it comes inside the box. Quick start guide, warranty, instruction manual, a recipe book. You get the cleaning brush, the power cord, once again, the coarse hole screen, the sorbet screen, the pusher. You get the 2 catch cups as well as this amazing juicer that has a new on and off button instead of a rotating dial that some people may have challenges with. It has a nice tactile feel. 3 position switch. When you go down, it basically reverses momentarily. And then in the middle position, it's off. And when you go up, it basically turns it on and runs at a low and slow 50 revolutions per minute to ensure your juice does not get fully oxygenated by running at a high speed, such as a high-speed juicer that can run in excess of 10,000 RPMs and literally lower the antioxidant quality in your juice. All right, guys, so now I want to show you guys what makes the Hurom H80 ST different than all other hopper-style juicers before it. And the first thing that comes straight out to mind that I want to show you guys, because I've gotten asked this question so many times over the over 25 years I've been running my business, discount juicers, to get you guys the lowest price and also more importantly educate consumers about the differences between all the different brands out there. The biggest question I get is, John, can you put it in the dishwasher? Because why? Because people hate cleaning, right? And so I'm glad to announce that the Hurom H80 is the first household dishwasher-safe juicer, right? Hurom previously came out a little bit earlier this year, the CP50, which is the world's first commercial dishwasher-safe juicer. Link down below to that video. Nonetheless, this is the first household juicer that Hurom says is dishwasher-safe. That being said, I do still recommend using that cleaning brush to scrub out the screen, to give it a pre-wash on the screen, to scrub out the screen, to get all the fibers removed, because trapped, locked in, stuck in fibers will not come out just by spraying high pressure water on it in your dishwasher, especially if you have an inefficient dishwasher that doesn't clean too well. The other thing I want to mention to you guys, if you guys do choose to dishwash it right after you're done juicing. This way all the liquid is still liquid in there, it hasn't dried up, and it's going to be easier for your dishwasher to get this thing sparkling clean. So this alone could save you so much extra time and effort and always have your machine looking sparkly new, because if you have to sit there and scrub a juicer down like I've done many times, a machine like this probably take me about 4 to 5 minutes to clean. But now this all is time saved because you can put this model, but not others, in the dishwasher. Alright, so with that, let's go ahead and start taking the Hurom H80 apart and show you guys all the intricate details that makes it different than other machines. People may look at it, oh, it looks like their other model, their H320. Do not get this mixed up with the H320 or the H330 that was released around 2022. This is the 2026 version, and while it does look a little bit similar, the internal components, a lot of them have changed, and how the machine works have changed. Hurom is not sitting on their laurels like some companies out there that only have one machine and haven't really released a new machine in years, right? They continue to make improvements, incremental improvements, and then release new machines into the market. And in my opinion, in some ways, that's to their detriment, because now they have so many different machines, people get like confused. What Hurom machine do I buy, right? And then they don't buy anything, right? And so here's the thing, like if you guys are looking for the latest pure press juicing technology, juicer with the stainless steel juicing screen, in my opinion, the H80 ST is the only way to go. That being said, I want you guys also to look at the other videos that I have on the Hurom. My favorite Hurom juicer is not the pure press style, it is the easy clean style, because cleaning, I don't even need to put it in the dishwasher. I could spray it off, it takes me 60 seconds to clean, right? And I love how that machine is more efficient in my testing, and in many cases will even make a higher quantity juice, because that technology Hurom has brought along a lot. So I hope to have a video comparing the H80 to my favorite, the H70. Make sure you click that subscribe button right down below and click the little bell so you get notified when that video comes out. Also, of course, I'll put a link down below to my favorite juicer at this time, the Hurom H70, as this video is being filmed. My hope and dream for Hurom is to have the H80, because this is the H80 ST with a stainless steel screen, to have an H80 FT, which is basically the easy clean style machine that would basically take this thing over the top, because then you'd have all the new adjustments in the hopper and you'd have the easy clean technology. That'd be my dream. So hopefully that happens. All right. Until then, let's go over what makes the H80 different than all the other preceding machines that Hurom has made before it. All right. So starting off first is the hopper, right? This hopper is newly redesigned. This is the largest hopper made on any home Hurom juicer. It has 2.2 liters of capacity. If you're looking for a larger Hurom hopper, then you could go to their commercial model. That costs a lot more than this machine that has 3-liter hopper, but this hopper is a lot larger. Also, I'm glad to say that Hurom has basically brought back the cylinder shape, which I love so much, to the hopper, because formerly some of their hoppers were basically cut off on the end, which I didn't really like too much. Another major improvement besides just the 2.2 liters, this being the largest hopper on any Hurom home machine, is that this is a one-piece hopper. A lot of other Hurom machines in the olden days basically had a clear or smoke color on this, and then the bottom would be black, and they would basically glue these two pieces together. This could be problematic because at the seam where this part is glued, check your juicer out, there may be a crack, and that may be basically a harborage point for harboring basically, pulp and dried up juices, and then mold and bacteria could grow, and then you could get sick from your juice. So I'm glad to say this is a lot more hygienic because it is a one piece. They figured out how to basically mold it now as one piece instead of having to do it 2 pieces. Now, another important upgrade for this hopper is this part at the bottom. It's also known as the processing blade in many cases, but now Hurom is officially calling this spiral blade. So you guys can see it, and if I just show it to you guys looking at it from the top, you guys can't really see the difference. So hopefully soon I'll be able to show it to you guys outside the juicer, and I'll get some extra parts to show you guys. But basically, unlike previous processing blades, this one's a lot different. While it has a rake on it, and a pretty aggressive rake, it's a little bit different. The original ones basically would act like a knife and kind of like slice up and help funnel things into the juicer. With this 3D style blade, instead of acting like a knife and just chopping things up, it acts more like a scissors. So it's a lot more effective because it's 3D, because not only does it kind of just run around, but now it has like this bumper on the bottom which helps funnel things in. It also has a nice aggressive top that's not really going to impale things like citrus that have been impaled on other hopper style machines. In addition, due to the unique design, and to remind you guys, they do what I like, they go exactly to the end of the hopper. This ensures that whatever's sitting in the hopper is getting hit by the processing blade, so it gets chopped and then funneled in to get juice. This is very critical. There are machines out there, unfortunately, that don't go to the end, so things can get stuck in the hopper and then not ever get juiced, right? Then you got to shove it down yourself manually, right? Has that happened to you? Not going to happen on the Hurom H80 due to this improved spiral blade. In addition, the spiral blade has another unique feature. You know, have you ever juiced something like long and stringy, like celery or like leafy greens that basically get wrapped around your processing blade and then just sit and spin inside there, right? That's why Hurom designed the new spiral blade. I'll call it a 3D blade, so that does not happen. Because once again, this acts more like a scissors, chops things up, than a knife that basically cuts things up to get things fed into the juicer. In addition, they also have a very unique design on the basically hole on the bottom of the hopper. And if you guys look here, it's narrow on this side, and as it goes to this side, it gets a lot wider. In addition, they also have these little, I would call them bumpers. You know, I used to play pinball, and these are like bumpers that'll direct the pinball a certain direction. But in this case, these bumpers direct the fruits and vegetables that are going to go into the juicer a certain direction. So instead of just sitting and spinning around in the hopper, like can happen on other machines before this, right? As it goes around, it hits this little bumper, and then the bumper basically is like a little pinball bumper, and it basically forces the fruit and vegetable down into the hole. And likewise, right? Because a lot of holes on the bottom of juicers are the same width, right? Then a lot of produce may basically jump the hole and continue to spin around. With this, right, the hole is smaller on this side, but then it gets a lot larger on this side. So this ensures as the produce spins around, it'll basically kind of get sucked in to the larger portion over on this side. So I really am liking the new design on the hopper. Once again, Hurom has been making continual improvements. They have a very extensive R&D department, you know, to test these machines to make sure they're going to provide you the latest and greatest technology in their latest model. And always, as I have seen over the many years I've been selling Hurom juicers, always the latest model has the latest upgrades and the latest tech. So if you guys want the easiest, hassle-free, right, experience juicing, right, then you want to get the latest model. The 2026 model at this point, this is it for the ones that have the standard juicing screen. So yes, I also like that this lid basically kind of goes back a lot. Some lids kind of go only like this far, and then they have a propensity to drop on you. I really like how this lid goes back, so it's really never going to drop on you. Also, this lid hinge is nice and tight, so you won't just knock it and knock it off. You're going to actually knock the whole pitcher over. Now, in addition, in this hopper, they also have these two little points here. Now, these points, once again, also help the spiral blade to process the produce so that it gets pre-cut, chopped, and then get directed in the juicer. Other machines don't have these little notches here that, once again, act like pinball bumpers to basically help get your produce in the machine. So this means your machine is going to work a lot more efficiently than other machines without these small little upgrades, right? And, you know, most influencers are not going to share with you guys all these little small details, right? I am a detail-oriented person. I will notice all the differences between this model and the previous generations, and I will have videos comparing them so that you guys have the most accurate, best information to make your juicing purchase. And if I've helped you out by sharing with you guys information that you're not going to hear anywhere else based on my 25 years of selling juicers and over 30 years of actually being a juicer and consuming fresh juices that I make at home myself, I would encourage you guys to use my coupon code. The coupon code to use to save 10% off the Hurom H80 ST or any other Hurom juicer is Dishwasher. We're going to throw up right there. You can use at Hurom.com. This coupon is good only for the USA. And of course, if Hurom has a better promotion running, my coupon will always get you guys the lowest price available that Hurom is publicly offering, because I've negotiated that with them, because once again, my company is called discountjuicers.com. So not only when you guys use that coupon code Dishwasher, you will get the lowest price, but also Hurom will share me a small commission so I can continue to have time to make these educational videos, to buy produce that I could use to pay my light bill and pay my amazing video editor so I could get these videos up for you guys and show you guys the truth and the depth about juicers that nobody else will. So you guys are an informed consumer in this society where basically there's all these influencers saying buy this, buy that, and I'm going to tell you guys the reason why you may, or in some cases may not, want to buy a machine. So another thing I really like about the Hurom H80 ST is this bottom. You know, some of the Hurom machines in the past have had some nooks and crannies in the bottom. This bottom is fairly flat all the way around. This makes cleaning easier. And of course, the cleaning part is moot because you can just throw this all in the dishwasher, which is completely amazing. All right, next coming out, we got the main juicing parts. This is the Pure Press line. This basically has the stainless steel juicing screen with a wiping blade and the auger inside it. So if I take out the wiping blade here, this wiping blade doesn't look significantly different than other wiping blades that have come before it. So there's not any huge upgrade here. The auger, once again, you know, maybe it looks a little bit different, designed for this specific juicing screen. I could see they basically kind of notched out this a little bit more aggressively. So what that will do is that will help produce kind of drop in and get juice. This will mean it'll, you know, juice more effectively and efficiently for you. And the auger, once again, to remind you guys that they're now using a special plastic that is now dishwasher safe, guys. So, you know, all other augers before that, don't put them in the dishwasher. They can get damaged. And then, of course, we have the juicing screen, which looks like a traditional juicing screen in all other Hurom juicers before it. So, you know, the thing is, if you guys already have a Hurom juicer with a juicing screen that looks like this, the chances are your yields are going to be pretty much similar, right? It's using the similar extraction technologies with a few minor, you know, differences. So, like, I wouldn't say, like, oh, it's worth it to upgrade, to spend all this money to get this, because really the main core juicing parts, honestly, are the same. It's like if you're, but the reason to buy this machine, honestly, is if you are frustrated with things being left over in your hopper being too small, and or the cleaning process, because once again, this hopper is much improved over previous versions. In addition, this whole machine is dishwasher safe, of course, except the motor body, all right? And then, of course, now we have the juicing bowl, which does have some significant upgrades over all previous models, which actually I like a lot. So let's find out what they are. Number one of the things I love about the Hurom is that they have two handles, right? They have a handle on the juicing bowl and a handle on the hopper. So when you put these together, they lock in, and you can see there's two handles here. Now, why are two handles very important, right? Should you overload the juicer, juice something too stringy, too fibrous, what happens is the auger basically kind of gets jacked up. That means it basically pushes up on the hopper, and then it makes it really hard to get this apart, especially if you don't have a handle. If you just have this, the bottom, you're just trying to hold while you're trying to, you know, open this, it's almost impossible, right? Maybe you need some kind of tools. But now, since you have two handles, this makes it easy to basically separate these apart, even if it is clogged and jammed. So I like that a lot. Once again, the handle. Next up, where the juice comes out, this is now like large. Like this is XL. I'd say this is an XL juice spout where the juice comes out. Now, why is this important? This is important because when the juice comes out, right, with the small port, it's harder to clean in there. And this part, especially on the bottom, will get stained with carotenoids, chlorophyll pigments, and other pigments over time. So I really love that they've made this a lot larger, so now I could actually get my cleaning brush in there and clean it a lot easier, because I don't use the dinky cleaning brush that comes with the Hurom machines. If you guys want to learn about my favorite tools I use to juice, that's very important so you can be successful. I'll put a link down below to my video on that, and I'm probably going to make another one here real soon. But yeah, I really enjoy the nice, larger, oversized pulp flap on the machine to let the juice out, keep it inside the machine. In addition, this machine also has a larger juicing bowl, so it can store more juice in there to mix juice inside the machine should you keep this closed during juicing. Keeping it closed during juicing will result in typically less oxygen or less dissolved oxygen or foam in your juice. This is especially important if you're only juicing things like leafy greens, right? But keeping it closed could also, reduce your yield by a little bit, because now the juicer is trying to extract juice while literally the juicer is swimming in juice. So I always typically recommend you guys leave your pulp cap open. Of course, when you are making nut milks, then you'd want to keep this closed to get all the nut milk deliciousness mixed inside the machine. Next up, this is where the major improvement is in this bowl. I mean, it's nice to have a larger spout there, but this is a major improvement, right? Old machines basically would have a bottom on a hinge that you could basically undo, and I've had a lot of problems with those hinges in the past, from the clips that hold that hinge shut to the little piece, the silicone piece getting lost, to gaskets being worn out or just coming out when I'm cleaning, or that actually the hinge broke, right? Hurom deleted the hinge. Instead, they've actually now made, once again, where the pulp comes out, oversized. This is probably the largest pulp port on any machine that I'm aware of. You guys can see it's just huge. And now they have this fit and clean pulp bar that literally, should you get clogged during the juicing, like you don't pre-cut things fine enough and then the pulp stops flowing right, you should stop your juicer right then and there and then try to clear out the blockage before things get really bad, right? With the pulp, the fit and clean pulp bar, really all you need to do now to clean out some pulp blockages, instead of taking the machine all apart, you can just lift this up and lift it out. This makes this piece incredibly easy to clean. I'd even venture to say easier to clean than the ones that you actually have to do an extra job of basically unclipping it and then, taking it in half. With this, you just pull it out, and now you could spray water in there really easily. I could get my fingers in there to clean. This is a nice big passageway to get a brush in there or clean it as well. So yeah, I really love the fit and clean pulp bar. That makes cleaning easier, number one, but more importantly, and this is essential, guys, especially if you're not pre-cutting your produce right, because you can avoid all this from occurring, but most people don't pre-cut their produce right. I should have an updated video on that. To clean it out. So you can basically remove this and then, clear the jam so that you can continue to juice uninterrupted and have an easier time doing it. So yeah, those are the main differences on the juicing bowl. Once again, they got the handle, which I like, the bigger spout there, and the fit and clean bar. So finally, I want to discuss the motor on the Hurom H80 ST. Basically, it's a 200 watt motor, runs at 50 RPMs, and Hurom makes solid motors. What I'll tell you guys, is that this base is probably the heaviest part of the juicer. They use solid motors that have been known to last easily 20 years. They also have a nice gasket on here so that there's no drips that get down into the motor should the gaskets fail in your juicing bowl, which is actually, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I'm feeling 3 different ridges. So this is triple layer protection. Previous gaskets, and I'm talking about this gasket right here, sometimes only had 2 layers of protection. So really love that they have, basically, I'm feeling 3 layers of protection to help keep the juice off your motor, so your motor can run a long time. So once again, this machine has a full 15-year warranty. It's going to last you easily into 2040s, which boggles my mind. So let's go ahead and assemble this machine. The first thing is you're going to take the juicing bowl and stick that right on. It lines up really easily. Next up, you're going to take the wiping blade and then put that on the juicing screen. Make sure it can spin around freely. You then basically line up these notches. There's a big notch and a small notch, and this lines up with the small notch and the big notch. This basically makes assembling the machine a no-brainer, because you're never going to mess this up. And once again, it just drops into place. Then you take your auger, drop your auger in there, and make sure as you push it down, you want to rotate it a little bit to make sure it's fully seated, and it should be basically flush with the top of the juicing screen. Finally, you're going to take your hopper, and on the hopper, they have an arrow, and an unlock and a lock, and you want to line up this arrow with the unlock arrow. That lines up, and then you basically just rotate it back. I don't even really look at the arrows because I really love the dual handles. This makes it a lot easier. All you need to do is align this handle a little bit offset to the top handle, and then just line them up. So this will prevent you from ever assembling this incorrectly. This is a problem that can happen with other machines that don't have a foolproof design for assembly, and then you can get frustrated with that. So never so on the Hurom H80. Now, one thing I do need to mention right now is when you're done juicing, you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to take off the hopper now. You try to take it off while it's still assembled on the machine. It's locked in, right? Hurom does not want you to disassemble it while the machine is assembled on top of the base, because potentially the machine could be running. So if you need to disassemble the machine for any reason, simply lift up on the juicing part. So now this is no longer on the base, and now you can easily take this apart, right? So that's very important to realize. I mean, when I'm done, I just take this whole piece off, and then I just disassemble it, and it's super simple, super easy, you know, once you get the hang of it. So yeah, really love that a lot. They've made this really idiot proof, unlike some other machines on the market. All right, guys, so next up, we're all set up and ready to juice, and we're gonna be juicing some dinosaur kale bunch, basically 4 cucumbers. We got 2 green apples and about 6 pounds of organic carrots. One of the things I want to mention is that I prefer to use glass when I catch my juice, so I'm so glad that Hurom basically made this spout where the juice comes out nice and tall, so I can use literally a 2,000 milliliter glass collection cup. If you guys want to get these same tools that I use, link down below to my Amazon shop for this actual collection cup that I love so much. It has a precise measurements on there and a really handy pour spout as well. So before we get juicing in the H80, I'm going to go ahead and do a decibel test to see how loud this machine is in real world use. All right, so we got this on, and let's turn it on. All right, so we're between 67 to 69 decibels. We'll call it 68 decibels. This is a very quiet machine, and quiet, slow juicers are very important to use if you guys wake up early in the morning to juice when your family is still sleeping, or if you have paper thin walls in an apartment building, because I wouldn't want you to, you know, have to stop your healthy habits because of a loud juicer. So this is one of the quietest juicers on the market. Once again, running at 50 revolutions per minute. All right, guys, so let's get juicing. So, you know, now I'm going to share with you guys my tips on juicing with you guys. I mean, of course, Hurom has their own layering tips on how to layer things in, and typically they would say, put all the soft things first, like the cucumbers and the apples and the greens and the carrots, and I would probably pretty much agree with them. You know, what I like to do is I always like to get the greens in there first, and especially with long greens such as these, you want to pre-cut the greens. This always will help in 2 things. Number 1, it'll help the juicer work more efficiently by not getting the strings clogged as they are ejected. Number 2, when you cut them smaller, you're going to be able to more effectively fill that hopper with more produce at once. So that means you'll have to fill it less. So we're just going to basically chop this up into smaller pieces so I can actually load this in the machine. Next up, we're just going to go ahead and cut that apple in a couple pieces. I personally juice apple seeds. You know, there can be some health benefit to apple seeds, although they do contain a cyanide, which if you're juicing a ton of them, I probably wouldn't recommend. So we're just going to cut this basically into 1/8, and then the cucumber, very important to cut the cucumber up into smaller pieces. You know, I like to always cut it into smaller pieces because this will help the juicer work more effectively, okay? So in this recipe, especially the softer fruits, including the cucumbers, which are a non-sweet fruit, and the apples are a lot softer. The juicer has a harder time extracting all the juice out of it. That's why I'm also juicing some root vegetables with it, which are the carrots. And when the juicer gets a little bit of cucumber in the machine, followed by a piece of carrot, that helps the juicer get the cucumber pulp and the apple pulp more drier, okay? So let's see, let's go ahead and load this up. So I'll first probably drop in maybe like a handful of kale, get that weighed down with some of the cucumber. So I'll probably put a bunch of cucumber in there, a couple of the apples, but then very important, we also want to put a ton of carrots so that they can all juice at the same time. And then basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to basically layer again. Once again, start with the greens again, and then I'm going to basically just put like all these cucumbers, since I'm juicing a bunch of cucumbers, maybe a couple pieces of apple. And then I need to basically top it off with a bunch more carrots. All right, so finally we're gonna top it off with carrots. I mean, one of the things you could do is if you just took all these ingredients, mixed it up in a big bowl after you cut everything up, mixed it all up, and then just put it in there so it'd be more evenly distributed. I think that would be great as well, although that is extra work. Now, you know, keep in mind there is a do not fill past this mark. And and I always just put the juicers to the test and they'll pass that mark, but I can't recommend you guys do that, because if you do that, then the machine can malfunction and things could happen. And I'll have to cram this down and get it locked into place. And let's go ahead and see if this machine works, even when I overloaded it. All right, so turn this machine on. As you guys can see, because I overloaded it, basically the produce is getting pushed up against the lid. The lid is flexing a lot, which is probably not recommended, so don't do this at home. But I always like to see how strong the lid latch is, because some machines, the lid latch is weak, and then it'll just basically pop open. So I'm glad to say on the Hurom H80, the lid latch is quite strong, and even if you overload it like you shouldn't, it won't pop open. So I guess as this is going, I'm going to just go ahead and continually to prep more of my produce to get it juiced, and you can use that little hole at the top to kind of feed some items in if you would like, which I may do, or I may just prepare a lot of it and then just fill it when it's empty. So that's the two options. I guess in order to save you guys some time, let's go ahead and speed this part of the video up and watch as I prep all this food and get it juiced. Alright, so as you guys can see, the H80 ST finished juicing all that produce, and we made over 2,000 milliliters of juice without a hitch, without a problem. What I will say is that based on my observations, and I haven't tested this like side by side yet, it seems like the H80 works a little bit faster for a slow juicer, and it really just, the pulp just comes out and is flying out. Like some juicers, like the pulp comes out really slow, which is likely a pro and a con. But with this, if you want to get done fast, this will crank through your produce. And I even had to fill up like 2 pulp catch bins here because it just made a lot of pulp. Carrots typically make a lot more pulp. And you can see here we have lots of juice made. And I want to go ahead and taste test some juice right off the top for you guys. Filled this up, overfilled it actually, past the max line. Actually, we're probably past 2,000 milliliters. Probably like 2,200 milliliters of juice made easily without an issue. So we'll just tip this down and pour some of this fresh juice out. Look at that. Green, carrot, cucumber, green apple. Wow, that's good. You know, once again, due to the juicing screen, there's not a lot of pulp in the juice like other juicers. Of course, you could always use a sieve to remove the pulp if you are using an easy clean machine, or even this one if you want a totally pulp-free juice. That being said, my honest recommendation is to always keep your pulp in your juice. To me, this tastes like pretty silky smooth, actually. Really nice flavor. I mean, I'm tasting a lot of the cucumber because I put 4 of those in there. The carrots are kind of in the background. I taste a little bit of the hint of the strongness of the kale. But it's a well-balanced juice, and of course the carrots, when you juice the carrots, you get greater uptake of the beta-carotene than eating carrots raw. That's a delicious juice. I guess the other thing I want to tell you guys that's very important for me is if you guys make all this juice and then you're going to store it, right? Don't store it how other influencers share with you guys. Basically what they're going to tell you is they're going to tell you to store it in glass, which I would agree with. They're going to tell you to basically fill it to the brim and then put a cap on it. Right, this is an extremely bad idea because the problem is all the dissolved oxygen in the juice that you're leaving, even though you're removing the headspace oxygen because you're filling it to the brim, there's still a lot of dissolved oxygen in the juice. And that's what really is the enemy of storing your juices. So real quick, I'm going to show you guys how to store your juice properly. So look at that nice consistency on the juice made in the Hurom H80 ST. And we're not going to fill it up to the top. We're going to fill it maybe to like right there, because this is a very important step, right? Then we're going to use the stainless steel 100% with a silicone gasket and silicone valve. It's the Pure MVP vacuum lids that I like so much. Then we're going to go ahead and use the Pure MVP vacuum pump. Very important, guys. Don't buy one of those cheap pumps on Amazon for $10. $20 or whatever they sell for, those ones that you plug in and you recharge and you could press a button, right? Those only remove maybe 60%, 57% of the oxygen if you're lucky. And when you remove that little oxygen, right, you're not going to literally pull the bubbles out of the juice. So, you know, while doing that is better than just storing it with a lid on it, right? I want you guys always to do the best. I showed you guys all my best information and tips on this channel so you guys could have, you know, the most nutrition in your juice to benefit you and get you healthy again, all right? So on the pure pump, we're just gonna literally, all we need to do is if we pump it 10 times, we're already beating one of those cheap garbage Amazon pumps. If you don't believe me, link down below to my test. I've tested a lot of cheap Amazon pumps and continue to test them so you guys could find out the best ones. All right, so just pump it 10 times. All right, so I pumped it actually 12 times. And you guys see what happened in front of your eyes? Literally that foam layer increased. And if you guys could see closely on the camera, basically it looks like a carbonated beverage. Like all these bubbles that are trapped inside the juice are now rising up to the top. And then they pop and then they make the foam. So now you gotta like literally let this sit, you know, for a few minutes to let all the bubbles pop. This will basically go back down and then you're gonna go ahead and pump some more. So now I have, you know, a lot more juice to store. So let's go ahead and just do this off camera for you guys. All right, guys, so now as I'm degassing or de-airing my juice, we're just gonna go ahead and clean up the H80, and then we're gonna come back at you to shoot with you guys how you guys can make fresh sorbet, fruit sorbet, the healthiest dessert that you probably haven't tried yet, because I want you guys to get rid of all that ice cream with the added sugar. You could eat fresh fruits that have been frozen at home and made into a delicious sorbet to take the place of ice cream so you guys could get healthier. So you guys just saw us make 2,200 milliliters of juice in the Hurom H80. Next up, I want to show you guys another really cool feature that you can do with the H80 with the included attachment. Some companies will charge you like $60 even more for the sorbet attachment, and this is included with the Hurom H80, which is at present time their flagship model. This is the top of the line, includes everything they got. All right, and it's super easy to use this. First off, we're just going to go ahead and take apart the machine, and what you're going to do is you're going to pull out the wiping blade, juicing screen, and the auger. Basically, the juicing screen and the wiping blade come apart. You will not be using them. Then you're just going to go ahead and take in this frozen fruit sorbet and put it in. So it just lines up with these tabs, super simple, super easy. Then you're going to go ahead and drop in your auger. Then you can go ahead and assemble it back together. And now instantly your juicer is converted into a machine to make frozen fruit sorbet out of frozen fruits. The other thing I would personally recommend is you're going to remove the fit and clean attachment because you will not need that. Because all the fruit sorbet is going to come out where the pulp normally comes out, okay? And then as you guys can see, I'm using some frozen fruit today. I basically got a ripe pineapple. I froze it into pieces, and that's down here at the bottom. And then at the top I have some frozen organic cherries, frozen wild blueberries, frozen goji berries, and some other exotic wild berries from the Northwest, all right? So the only thing you need to do is basically dump in all the fruit into the hopper, and then you're going to let the machine do all the work. Oh, the other thing I need to tell you guys is you want to take your fruit out of the freezer and let it thaw out for maybe 5 minutes or so, 5-10 minutes, so it'll be a little bit softer going through the machine. All right, so let's go ahead and dump all this in. All right, so once all the fruit is in the machine, just shut the lid, and all we need to do now is just turn it on. And as fast as the machine runs, you guys can see it basically grinds up that fruit, and out comes your frozen fruit sorbet, sticking nice together. Always definitely important, you know, don't just do only berries because they're not super sweet. You know, I like to add some pineapple to it to add some, you know, sweetness plus some of the acidity. You could also add things like bananas and or mangoes, and many times you could buy these fruits already pre-frozen. Here in the States anyways, Costco or Trader Joe's is usually where I go to buy my frozen fruits. But as you guys can see, this is coming out nice and amazing. That I really love the texture right here as it's coming out of the pineapples mixed with the berries. You can see like at first we got mostly the berries, but now it's coming out like, you know, like more like the white color of the pineapple plus the berries. So I'm really looking forward to eating this in just a hot second. Let's go ahead and let the machine finish up making my frozen fruit sorbet automatically. Alright, so as you guys can see, the Hurom H80 basically turned all those frozen fruits into like a nice kind of sorbet thing here. I really, once again, this large spout makes it easy to get your spoon in there and basically get out all your ice cream. Alright guys, so one of the things I love about the Hurom H80 is that it literally kind of makes it a hard pack, so you can just take basically like an ice cream scoop and you could really easily turn it into like little balls. Alright guys, check it out. We got the nice sorbet, basically ice cream substitute made with the Hurom H80. Now the moment I've been waiting for this whole time is try something that actually tastes good and sweet. Wow. It's a really nice consistency. It's like a really good consistency, guys. Like some juicers will basically grind it up further and make it like too soft. This is a really nice, like basically solid consistency. Like it won't even tip over. All right, so that brings us to the end of this review, and I want to share with you guys my final thoughts on the Hurom H80 ST. All right, so I guess if you guys are looking for a traditional screen style design machine with a standard juicing screen, I would say this is the one to buy. Why? Number one, you can dishwash it. Put it in your dishwasher for easier cleaning, right? Cleaning is a pain point for most people that I've gotten feedback from over the many years. This is the first machine that solved that pain point because they're using safe plastics designed for dishwashing. In addition, it has other incremental improvements over all previous hopper style juicers, including all the new improvements in that hopper that I went over earlier, as well as that fit and clean bar that you can actually easily remove to get the machine to clean easier and to remove any kind of blockages or jams should you need to. Of course, it also includes that sorbet screen that other companies will charge you extra money for, and of course backed by Hurom, who has a reputation of over 50 years of engineering experience and a full 15-year warranty. I mean, they are the people that have invented this vertical machine, and this is the latest iteration of it. That being said, you know, I would encourage you highly also to look into the Easy Clean line, which is my personal favorite, right? I personally would buy the H70 myself over the H80 ST because I just love the Easy Clean. I do hope that Hurom will basically come out with the H80 and an Easy Clean, because that would be the ultimate with the larger hopper upgrades, and then the Easy Clean screen that then also could be put into the dishwasher to get squeaky clean as well. That'd be amazing. I am liking this model so far, and definitely, clearly, it is an improvement over all the other models on the market. So if you guys gotta have the latest and greatest, the Hurom H80 is it. That being said, this is their flagship model at a flagship price. And if you guys don't need all the bells and whistles, don't need it to be dishwasher safe, then for a similar style machine, you might want to go with the H330, which is basically using similar components, very similar juicing parts. It doesn't include that sorbet screen, but is a lot less expensive. That way you could stick with the Hurom brand and solid performing juicers out there. And in either case, no matter what Hurom juicer you buy, make sure you guys help me out by using the coupon code DISHWASHER, because the Hurom H80 is the first household juicer that is a slow juicer with a hopper that is dishwasher safe. That'll get you guys the lowest price, a minimum of 10% off, maybe even more depending on what promotions Hurom is running at the time. Of course, Hurom will share me a small commission so I can continue to make these educational videos for you guys and show you guys my expertise about all the juicers that I've been using for all these years. If you guys want to get the pure setup to vacuum seal your juices, I'll put the links down below to that. Make sure you guys use the coupon code DJ5 at bit.ly/puremvp to save $5 off your purchase of the Pure MVP kit. That includes the pump as well as 12 lids, and get free shipping to boot. If you guys enjoyed this episode unboxing the all-new Hurom H80 ST, make sure you guys give this video a big thumbs up. That'll encourage me to make more videos where I compare the H80 against other older Hurom models, so you guys could find out how they compare. Also, be sure to share this with other people that want to get the latest and greatest juicer. This is the latest and greatest juicer coming out of South Korea with a lot of new technological advances just to make this a little bit better than all the other ones before. It's not super huge, but there's all these little small things that just make juicing a lot easier. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss my new and upcoming episodes that are coming in 5-7 days. You never know where I'll show up, what you'll be learning, what new juicers I'll be unboxing or comparing against each other so you guys can find the perfect juicer for you. Make sure you click the little bell so you get notified as many videos come out. Also, be sure to check out past episodes. Past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 900 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to you guys all about the best juicers and other appliances that process your fruits and vegetables and other plant foods in the best ways possible. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors.